Hey everybody, and welcome to Gen Friends. As you can see, I've got kind of a different background going on. I'm actually in a hotel, so we're hoping that this is going to work. I have got Bernice Bennett with me tonight, and I appreciate her being here. And Bernice was telling me that I'm fading out a little bit, but I thought, well, if you can hear my voice and see her face, you'd much rather see her face anyway. So we are, and by the way, I'm Cheri Hudson-Passy from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and we are so grateful to have our viewers watch us on Gen Friends, and we love it when you leave comments about the topics that we're talking about and how you feel about the show as well. We are going to talk about day 7 of relative race, and there were things that happened that have never happened before on day 7. There was tears again, like there's always tears, and family meeting family, and it was just another great episode, and we're almost done with this season. I can't believe it. Bernice, tell us, I know that you have a soft spot in your heart for Team Green.
I do. I love them.
Marcus and Kevin, they are so cute.
They are so cute, and I just love what's happening to them and how they are connecting with family.
And I love too that Marcus is more outgoing than Kevin, but Kevin he is blossoming through this journey. I think we've seen him smile and laugh, and we're seeing another side of him. The first, few days, he was just a little bit more shy and timid, but I think he's really just enjoying this process. They had a little bit of problem this time. Two teams had a problem as they were leaving the race and were on the race, and they to their selfies, and Team Green and Team Red, neither one of them could find their cell phones, their phones.
That was so funny. I'm
how do you?
Okay, and they couldn't stop.
And
the car.
They can't stop. Yeah, and they couldn't find them. And then finally, Team Green finds theirs in the trash can. I mean, can you imagine if they had accidentally? What if they'd had to stop to go to the bathroom and thought, let's take out the trash. Let's get to the trash. And they wouldn't be able to finish the race because they couldn't do the things that they were supposed to do. And then Team Red, they didn't say exactly where they'd found theirs. They just said, we found it. But I've never seen that happen on the show. Never seen that happen on the show before. So listen, for the future weeks, make sure you know where your phone is. I think they all started out a little sad this time because Team Black had been eliminated. And I think they felt that. They were saying that this is getting real. Now that we see the one team has actually gotten 3 strikes and they're gone, I think that it got real quick for all 3 remaining teams.
It did. It really did.
And they were sad for them, but Team Black got to continue on, and they weren't part of the selfie call at the end, and they weren't part of the challenge, and they weren't part of anything else, but they told them if they would exchange their day 10 benefit last week when they got the strike, they could meet another relative. So I think that's great that they let them do that. I really do. I think that's wonderful. I hope that's something that continues. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Dan said that this is the first time they've had a team go out on day 7, that usually it's, the 3rd strike. So I may have misunderstood what he said, but I don't know that we've lost a team this early on before. So
I'm not sure. I don't recall.
Right. I may have misunderstood what he said, but I thought that's what I heard him say on the show. But yeah, it was sad. But they ended up being able to meet their dad's sister, and that was an incredible thing. They kind of took it easy because they didn't have to do the challenge. They didn't have to race. They just had to get to her house. And they knew the minute when they knocked on the door, they knew who she was. So
that's right, because they had seen pictures of her. So they were aware of the fact that their father had a sister.
Right. They even knew her name.
They did. They knew her name.
It was Pam. Yeah, they knew her. And so she showed all these pictures. She was able to show them pictures of their parents together. that they had never seen. And so they had this, oh, my parents really did love each other at one time. They're together, but the sister doesn't know where he is. You know, she hadn't seen him in like 25 years. So there's a lot more of the story that, you know, that we don't need to know. None of us need to know, you know, the rest of the story. That's personal and private with their family. But I do hope that they will be able to continue and maybe find him if he's findable, that, you know, they will have that journey and that connection with him. So it was good to see them be able to at least make that last connection, a connection to somebody who could give them more answers and give them, not that she could say, this is where your father is, but she could explain what he was like as a child and growing up and the first part of the marriage and that kind of thing. So, and then they got to go to their grandparents' gravesite, which I thought was wonderful, but it was sad too because they said we don't have active grandparents in our lives, and now this side is, you know, they've already passed away. So that was kind of sad too. So
yes, it was.
so
But
I
it
hope,
was closure for them.
I agree.
And
I
so
agree.
they could
Yeah.
then determine, where do I go? Where is my journey going to take me now? I do have information. So
Yeah.
it's now up to those relationships that they have, or those relatives they have met, whether they want to continue to nurture
Exactly.
the relationships.
And I think that they were bonds that they made. So I think that they will be able to progress with those relationships and get probably maybe more answers if they can work on it together, you know. And they've got a lot of good stories to tell their mom from their mom's side of the family. And so I think all in all, this is a really good journey for them. And I really do hope that eventually they will get the answers that they need about their
Yes.
father. So before we go on to the other teams, let's talk a little bit about that challenge. So the challenge is sketch. They had to sketch. They had 5 different mediums, and they had to do charcoal, they had to do watercolor, they had to do, there was crayons there, there was markers there. They had to, one teammate had to look at a picture and they had to draw it. They had like 5 seconds to draw the picture, hang it up, and then the other teammate had to try to guess which of all these other, this wall of photos, which one was the one they sketched, and they had like 30 seconds to do it.
And they had to rely on memory.
Exactly. I mean, wow. But Marcus and Kevin, their very first one, they got. How they did that is beyond me. That was that was pure luck that they did that. And you know what cracked me up? Demetrius's watercolor. It was that blob of kind of peachy, kind of blobby color, and then a
what
blob
was that?
of what? And she was like, "What is this?" And he works. That's his job. He's in law enforcement. He's supposed to be able to, you know, catch the bad guys. So they were hysterical. I think Blue Team was hysterical through that whole game. The way she kept just looking at him, and he was laughing. I'm sorry, but you know what? I can't draw a stick figure. I can't even do that. So there is no way I could have done this challenge. But again, another fun family reunion kind of challenge that even little kids can scribble and, you know, they can do. But, you know, they started getting the hang of it after a while. So, you know, but I thought that was that's one of the funniest ones I think they've had.
It was so funny. And, you know, even when they tried to pick out a certain feature,
it wasn't working.
It wasn't working.
5 seconds to draw something from, you know, that you just know. That was just it's crazy, but it was a lot of fun. I think this is another one where they just had fun. It wasn't all that stressful for them. I mean, they know they had a time limit, but they were having a good time. They weren't stressing over it. It wasn't a mental thing. It was just, and like none of them were really good at drawing. So that would have been, you know, too bad. You know, somebody from one of the teams wasn't like an artist or something, because they could have just, you know, and they had to get 5. They had to identify 5 pictures. So none of them did so badly that I felt like it put them way, way behind. The only thing that put them way, way behind was Blue Team got caught in traffic.
Yes.
I mean, it was terrible. It was road construction, and they were just, you know, it took them along. And of course, the lost cell phones, that never helps anybody.
Right. And even, I mean, the blue team, when they found out where they were going was Chicago. I mean, he knows Chicago.
Yeah.
And couldn't get through Chicago.
Yeah. So they had the one traffic jam, and then they got to Chicago during rush hour traffic. So, but luckily he's from Chicago. He knows Chicago, but just because you know a city doesn't mean you can still get through rush hour traffic. And so they thought that they had an advantage because he was from Chicago, but not so much. So continuing with blue team, they ended up meeting. Demetrius got to meet another cousin. This was the first cousin on his dad's side. So you think, I mean, we think, oh, first cousin, dad's side, then this one of the cousin's parents has got to be a sibling to Demetrius' dad. He's going to get some answers. Not so much, huh?
No answers.
No answers. She had no idea. She did say to him, which is kind of opposite of some things we've been hearing. She says, this is the first time I've ever met a relative I didn't know. So she had no idea, but she couldn't help him. She didn't know who his dad was, which I don't know. I guess she's got some other relatives out there that she doesn't know.
That's right.
She doesn't know who the dad was. So he didn't really get any answers, but I liked how he was saying that just these DNA connections, he just feels so comfortable with them. So I like that. And then he's on, everybody in this side of the family is very nice looking. So.
Oh, yes.
Says, I know where I get my looks from. A little humble, right? A little humble. So I don't know. I just, day 7, we're getting kind of close on that dad side. So maybe he'll find that dad. Yeah, maybe next week. So I just never want him to get kicked off until they, get that third strike. So I hope they continue this trend like they did with Team Black, that if they're getting close to somebody they know we want to see, that they'll go ahead and say, turn in that day 10 benefit, and you can continue for another day. Team Red was kind of a interesting meetup last night. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. We were waiting to see if a father would appear. And yes, he did. And it was
Liz's father, right?
Liz's father. And they both, I think, were just in awe of each other. And you didn't see the immediate embrace, nor did you see the tears.
No.
You saw them
awkward. He came out real nervous, and she had said that she didn't know whether she really wanted to meet him or not. She has said that, in previous episodes, that she was very nervous. The things that she knew about his background, she wasn't happy with, and so she was nervous to see him. And you could it was coming through the TV screen. You could feel
it. Yes, you could definitely feel it was a little tense.
Oh yeah. It was a little tense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as time went by and he told his story and he said, I didn't know anything about you. And by the time I found out about you, the adoption was already final, and I just didn't want to rock the boat. I just, and of course, if he was having some issues, and, who knows what those might be, he may not have been in a position to even want to do that at that time. But, it doesn't sound like he just walked away from her biological mom and said, you deal with it. It's just like he didn't really know until it was too late. So I think that helped her to some of that tension to kind of take a deep breath and maybe accept him a little bit more. But she did introduce him as the man who gave her life, not her father. And that's a distinction. I mean, Dan said, you met your father. That's not what Liz said. Liz did not say, I met my father. She said, I met the man that gave me life. So interesting. I thought that was really, really interesting. So hopefully they'll be able to continue to bond. And if they don't, at least she knows who he is and she knows the story, and that will help her. So, but Anyway.
Yes. Well, one thing he did say, though, is that he was looking for her. That's why he took the DNA test.
That's right. That is why he took the DNA test. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that helped her a lot too. But she did make it very clear. I wasn't looking for you. She said, I was not looking for you. So yeah, I thought that was very, very interesting. And so I really hope that they'll be able to, get themselves together. Then we've got our team green, and they're very interesting relative that they met. They went to St. George, Utah, and the address they got was in the middle of nowhere in the desert outside of St. George, Utah. And so they were pulling up, and they're like, oh my gosh, are we camping again? I'm not sleeping here. Marcus was saying, I'm not sleeping here. I don't know where we are. It was like a parking lot. And then up drives this, I can't remember what you call that thing.
I don't know what, but I would love to get on it. I can tell you that.
Quite the car dune buggy thing. And everybody watching this is going, this is a whatever. And I can't remember what it's called. So sorry about that, all you people that know that kind of stuff. But the guy gets out, and already Kevin's going, dude, he looks like you. He looks like you. So Kevin already knew this is going to be Marcus's, somebody on Marcus's side. And it turned out to be a big brother. Oh my gosh, a big brother. And then that's the tears. They started playing face to face. I'm crying. It's just, that song just starts to come on and I'm losing it, So yeah, and they did look a lot like each other, didn't they?
Oh, they did. They resembled each other. And Dad, of course, knew.
Bishop comes flying out of the car, running over, hugging him. And it turns out that this brother is a producer and a rapper, and I guess, kind of well known. I mean, he obviously makes a lot of money to have the car he was driving. So, and they were talking about different venues that they had played. And it turns out they've been at the same venue at the same time performing. And they remember seeing each other, just not even knowing they were brothers. I mean, how awesome is that?
Unbelievable. An unbelievable experience. Yes.
Yeah. What a great, and to have them all hug, and even, Kevin was in there hugging him too. He says, and you have another brother. And I've loved that about them, whichever side of the family, whether it was Marcus's or if it was Kevin's, everybody embraced both of those boys. They didn't act like, okay, this is just your family or this is just my family. And the girls, the red team, they've done the same thing because they are adoptive siblings. They are sisters. They just biologically have different, biological parents and biological family, but they've done the same thing. You've got another daughter too. There's two of us, and they've accepted each other. And I've loved that about all the relatives that they've met, that they've just accepted everybody. So for everybody, I think it was a really good night of meeting people and just being overjoyed. I mean, Marcus was that's overjoyed. He was absolutely overjoyed to have an older brother. And the older brother, Andre, was saying, I've seen all these other people with siblings, and I didn't have any siblings, and now I've got a younger brother. And he's like, you're going to be good, dude. We're going to take care of you. And, and their driver's licenses, because they got to go and ride and take the drive, but the boys couldn't do it because they can't drive. They don't have the driver's
drive. That's right.
No.
Those two young men could not drive.
Well, I'll guarantee you they're working on that, because they said, we'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be able to drive. So I thought that was great. And the red team got to go golfing with Liz's dad. That was one of his passions. And I thought it was funny because she said, I normally don't do things that I know I'm not going to excel at. And did you see Maria goes, yeah. So she knew that about her sister. So, and Blue Team got to see, even though his cousin couldn't tell him, who the father was, she was showing him all sorts of pictures, a grandfather, because they're going to share a grandfather if they're first cousins, and great grandfather. So she was showing him all these photos. And so And again, he's like, yeah, these are good looking people. So, oh, so I'm just loving that he's filling that hole inside. He's just every week a little bit more and a little bit more is being filled. So I loved that. I really did. And then, of course, we get to the time that none of us really like, and that's, we love the Skype call. Love the Skype call and how they are, bond with each other and talk to each other, but not so much the results. But this week, at least we knew nobody was going to go home.
That's right.
Everybody had one strike, but we knew that nobody, somebody was going to get a strike, but nobody would go home. So I wouldn't say the pressure was off for the teams, but it wasn't as scary. It just wasn't as scary. So they got to choose. The winning team this time got to choose either a 5-minute phone call to whomever they wanted to call or that 10-day benefit. And coming in at number 1, day 7, a relative race, was Team Red. So yay, girls. And of course, they chose the day 10 benefit. I don't think nobody's chosen anything this time except for that day 10 benefit. Even when immunity was on the block, on the offering board last week, they didn't choose immunity. They went for that day 10 benefit. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the end. But green team unfortunately got the strike. So I was sad for them. But it was interesting because Dan said getting the strike is nothing compared. I'm paraphrasing. That's not quite what he did. But what he was saying was, they got the strike, but when you meet a brother, that outweighs that strike. That strike kind of goes in the,
I agree.
And I agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, they couldn't have a better day. That was so great. That was so great. I loved seeing that, and just the emotion. Those two are just. I just like you. I just love them. I love their emotion. I just love watching Kevin come out of half the time he's in the back. Asleep. So it's fun to kind of see him wake up and get involved and do the games and have a good time. I think he's just naturally a quieter person, and Marcus is the showman in the family.
Well, he's the wise brother.
That's right. He's wise. He's the wise brother. So I'm sad that they got a strike, but that's anything could happen next, on day 8. That doesn't mean that, they'll get a strike. Another team could get a strike. They could all end up still on day 10. They could, so it'd be kind of fun if they do, because I don't want anybody else to go home. This point, Team Black was sad enough. That made me sad. So I can't believe we're going to be on day 8 next week. That's
it's hard to believe. Yes.
It's flying by. And every time when the season's over, you're like whenever your turn is to watch it, some of us watch it live on Sunday night. Some of us, watch it on the computer the next day or whatever, but it's that blank, it's like, it's over. We got to fill up that spot with something else. But is there anything else about the show that I didn't mention that you wanted to mention, or?
No, you mentioned just about everything.
Yeah. Anything you wanted to bring? What popped into my mind just now was that interesting thing that happened to Team Red. They were in the parking lot, coming out of the parking lot after the challenge, and they were looking at maps, trying to figure out where to go. And that white car pulled up next to them, just happened to pull up next to them and asked them if they needed help. And I thought that was interesting because Liz said, and as God would have it, these people helped us, and I just thought that was really fun that, somebody would just happen to show up for them, and help them out and stuff. I thought that was really nice. And
really nice.
I thought that was a really special moment for them too. So that moment just popped into my mind. So I wanted to bring that up. But anyway, another fabulous episode, another, just my heart, my tears, everything just bursting at the end, and just excited and sad for Team Black, but praying and hoping that they have already perhaps gotten closure, because it's been a while since they wrapped up the show. So who knows what may have happened between what we saw, for day 7 and what's really happened in their lives, by now. Yes. So maybe they've gotten some more answers since then, and hoping that they will, and just wishing the rest of the teams luck as they move forward to day 10. And
that's right. And I think didn't they just have Team Black? Didn't they just have a birthday?
Yes, I think it was.
So,
I think it's the day we're keeping today. I think their
yeah,
birthday's today. So
yeah,
belated. By the time y'all see
yes,
this, it'll be a couple of days. So belated birthday.
yes. Happy
Being blessed.
birthday.
And thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing your journey with us and being willing to, put that all out there and giving a lot of people courage to look for their families. Those people
That's
that are
right.
hurting in the same ways and needing answers filled in the same ways. You've given them courage to come on the show, or not. Maybe they're, don't want to come on the show, but at least they want to start looking and helping them get the courage to look and find those answers for themselves. So I think it's a very brave thing to do, to be on the show and be that vulnerable. I don't know if I'd want to do it. So I think it'd be a really hard thing. This is really an emotional process for them. So, well, with that, Bernice, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
My pleasure. My
I
pleasure.
love talking to you, and I'm hoping that the viewers can see me and at least hear me tonight, and they can look at your beautiful face and just hear my voice. If that's all, that's perfect.
You're
They can just
looking good.
looking at you. So I didn't fade out. We're not sure about using my phone as a hotspot, but we tried it. So
That's right.
hopefully this works out. Thank you so much for joining us for Gen Friends this week. We will see you next time. We'll see you for day 8 for a relative race. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.